So there's definitely a few key metrics to evaluate company's culture. One of the biggest ones that I look to evaluate is shared vision and mission. What do I mean by that? Super common to have a company have a beautiful mission statement on their website. And it may even have it somewhere in like the office, on the walls or posted on a board, you name it. However, in terms of their employees' commitment levels to the mission or the vision statement is a totally different story. So what I find is that mission and vision can actually be a guiding light or an anchor for why people are working at that company. And if that's absent and people don't really buy into it, it's a limitation. So that's one of the things that I look for when assessing a company's culture. Another thing that I do want to look for is accountability or sense of ownership. In terms of high-performing teams and high-performing organizations, it's like the leader's job to drive, to promote, and to infuse behaviors and actions associated with accountability. And some do this a lot better than others. I have two great examples. I have one company who has a leadership team and everyone is all friends with each other. So what ends up happening with accountability, or where does accountability fall off a cliff, is that no one is really looking to point fingers at the other or hold each other accountable for what someone did or didn't do. Why? Because they're all pals outside of work. So what ends up happening is what I call fear of conflict. A healthy dosage of constructive conflict is fantastic for leadership teams. And if that's absent, it's not a good thing, and accountability can get blurred because people don't know what they own. So that's one example. On the other side, I'll actually have leadership teams who don't like each other, who distrust one another. What ends up happening there is they'll come into a leadership meeting. There's a lot of head nodding. And it seems like people know what they need to do and they walk out of here. But what ends up happening is they walk out of the room and they all pursue their own individual agendas. And what is that? That's not even a team. That's a collection of individuals. So accountability is a multifaceted thing. So for me, being able to do a deep dive as to really where the problems are, what's the source? Is it ineffective delegation? Is it poor decision-making processes? Is it because the team dislikes each other, or they are too friendly with each other? So these are the things that I'm looking for. A third thing that I assess is reward and recognition. So this can really vary dramatically across teams, even within one company. Why is that the case? Well, if a leader really views reward and recognition as shallow and unnecessary, they probably don't have a high praise culture. So at the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter what that manager thinks. It really matters what motivates their team and what drives their team. So if you have a team who actually cares about being motivated by rewards, recognition, or even just simple validation, and you have a leader who thinks that's shallow, that's a mismatch. That's a big problem. So being able to evaluate, go into a company and decide like what kind of praise culture does the company have? How is that reflected on individual teams? And are the leaders following a type of process in order to validate, reward, and promote their employees as a way to keep them motivated and engaged?